Well, I'm here at the Axminster Tools Nuneaton Centre, and I'm here a little bit early for the Alan Peters Furniture Award prize giving ceremony, and with thanks to Axminster, they are the main first prize sponsor. Second sponsor is English Woodlands Timber, and the third sponsor is a judge's prize, which is in my pocket. So I thought I'd come up a little bit early, and I'm waiting for the contestants to arrive with their pieces of furniture to fill up this space, which is wonderfully atmospheric. It's surrounded by all these tools and machines, and I thought I would have a quick look around the store and just see what grabs my fancy. Mind you, I've got hardly any room at all for anything else in my workshop. Over half a century I've built up a massive amount of hand tools and power tools. In fact, a friend of mine called my workshop Aladdin's cage.
Yeah, my name's Paul Way. I'm a carpenter, joiner. It's aspirational. To know that the guy behind the camera knew Alan Peters and we worked with him is it's like a dream being here. I shouldn't have been here today, and I've just turned up. So
well, that's great. And the exhibition starts at 3 o'clock. We've got the prize, and we've got one more piece.
Fantastic.
We've just got the 4 pieces at the moment. Have you got a favourite at the moment?
The desk is something. It's just something about that desk. I'm shook. I'm absolutely shook.
And it's very much Alan Peters, actually. It's very much his philosophy, which is understatement and subtlety, and.
But it's so complicated. I'm looking at it, and it's not just 4 legs and a top. It's the convex shapes. It's just I can't stop looking at it.
Well, you're not just a humble carpenter. You're an educated man with aspirations. Don't give up the carpentry.
I'll never give it up.
This is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Seen the way the drawers open and how they fit so perfectly.
It's just honestly, I walked around the corner and I felt like I just walked into a brick wall. It's just it's literally smashed me in the face.
Well, I hope you'll be around for the award at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, well, I've got to go and then I'll come back.
Yeah, so. Please do.
Yeah. We only found through carving and it's quite a long.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm Robin Johnson, and this is my Chanterelle Chair. This chair itself is made with slats of chestnut, English chestnut and Scottish elm, and although the dark wax on it lessens the contrast somewhat, there is quite a striking contrast between the dark elm and the light chestnut. It's quite a complicated build. There's, I think, 276 individual pieces. Each were cut with a template and then cut on a bandsaw, flush routed by hand, and then we had to make a number of beds so that each piece was passed through the thicknesser. When it was laminated together, it was stepped. Each piece stepped down. So after that, it had to be carved. When it was dried and set, it had to be carved by hand, or by hand with a power sander and a angle grinder, power carve, all those kind of tools, just to get the fine shape and then the fine finish. Then sanded with a DA, 150mm DA, and then finished by hand.
I'm Jeff Maker, and I've entered the Lunar Chair into the Alan Peters 2022 awards.
The grain in particular, the figure, is really gorgeous. What is the timber?
So it's olive ash. It was sourced in Staffordshire, so it's English grown. And the finish that I've put on it is it's a combination of Osmo finishes with a slight white pigmentation going on first. This takes away the yellowing that you often get with when you put an oil finish on ash.
And I was just saying to Jeremy as well that I love it.
No,
it's a really beautiful use of it. Jeff's chair is an exceptional example of fine craftsmanship, and it's a really unique design, and it's a pleasure to see it in real life. Well done.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you can kind of to hear that you sort of picked up on the connection with the story, behind it, and the ideas that came through behind it, and that. Like, it's, you know, because when you're designing something, it's all in your head, and you don't know how much other people are going to see that. So it's nice to see that.
What we like about the piece is it's an understated design which reveals its beauty slowly. It doesn't stand up and shout, "Look at me." We're very taken by the corner detail and the immaculately fitting drawers. A magnificent piece of work.
So the desk is mostly in maple, Canadian maple, with the panels in the middle are burr poplar, with sort of sycamore string lines sort of separating the panels. Go into the drawers, and we've got, so again, mostly maple, solid maple with English cherry bases, and these sort of coved slips were demonstrated by
beautiful.
Peters in one of his.
Is that a very slight gap also?
It is in the base, yeah, just to allow it to sort of just the areas of the corners, really.
Subtle detail.
Yeah.
What's that, a millimetre or even less?
Less, yeah, less. So it's the bases were fairly snug when they went in, and it's just a case of rounding over the corners just to take that edge off. Again, with these, it's all hand-fitted to obviously the drawers in the traditional.
Through dovetails on the end?
Yeah. We've got the slotted screw bases. And
Yeah. Really nice traditional detail. Just look at this detail here. Wow. And what's the finish?
It's shellac.
So that's an interesting choice of finish, quite an old-fashioned finish.
Yes. Particularly with the maple, I wanted to try and keep it as light as possible. So doing a lot of test sample pieces with different finishes. I came back around to.
Hello, my name's Tom Inman. I studied at the Robinson House studio where I made this coffee table. This design is based on a Japanese craft, traditional craft called Kumiko, which is this structure here. They're all made out of individual pieces which are cut out. So I think there's about 600 individual pieces in this section alone. And yeah, the inlay is then also done to try and match that, to make it seem like it's bleeding in to the table itself. There's inspirations from the Kumiko, but also looking at how ice crystals form, as if it's crystallizing into the table.
And what are the materials used?
It is African Padouk, sycamore. The black here is ebony, and then the black here is dyed or stained London Plain. And the legs are also London Plain, which are stained.
Just how difficult was that lattice work?
The lattice work, well, there was quite a bit of trial and error, to be honest. The difficulty obviously is there, but I guess it's just little things that you don't notice, I guess, because, like, for instance, this piece here, at this point, if you do it continuously, you'll see the joinery on this end. So the reason I had to do veneers was because I had to do this joint here but not include that last veneer, and then once I put it all together, and to fit the last veneer on, so that you don't see a gap and all this, so get a nice continuous piece there.
Well, it's clearly a highly original piece with the lattice work, and with the Oriental influence, it's very much in the tradition of Alan Peters, who was greatly influenced by his travels to the Far East. So, very interesting and well-resolved piece. I always enjoy seeing light and dark timbers combined, but it has to be done very, very carefully, else the result can be just too brash, too over the top. But this works extremely well. And for me, the sort of icing on the cake is a subtle faceting of the drawer fronts, which is a lovely detail.
right. Obviously, I really want to see it.
Now, we did wonder about metal runners, didn't
I've
we?
never done Kumiko.
I was just going to say actually that was partly the deciding factor really, because they're quite shallow drawers, and the idea of them being used for collections of things. You know, if your drawer can only come out say so far, you're kind of hiding some of the stuff at the back. So for me, them being able to come out right like that to, you know, the display drawers really, to pull out and be able to display that whole drawer, show off whatever's in there. So that is what initially led me down that route. And I felt that was more important than, you know, than doing a kind of piston fit drawer and being limited in that way.
Now, what intrigued me, and I'm relieved to see it in the flesh, is the accuracy of these miters.
Yeah.
Because what's going on under the miters, first of all?
So it's first of all it's a birch plywood and then rippled ash veneer with solid ash lippings, and then the miters are supported with biscuits as well. And the benefit of being birch ply is you're obviously gluing the kind of potentially, you know, half long grain together as well, which gives it some strength.
And they look pretty neat to me because, as we all know, a glue line on a light wood really shows up.
One to do.
But yeah, I mean, it's really great that we bring alive these pieces by explaining them. You know, because when you look at a piece, you make very bland, quick judgments like, oh, contrast. I like it. I don't like it. And there's more to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Than that. And I think, as you say, it's playful, it's articulate, it's functional.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Judges. I'm going to hand over to Lee now. We're going to... No, I'm not going to hand over to you because we're doing it... You reminded me that we should do it in reverse order. I got it wrong. We're going to start with the commended piece. Robin Johnson's Chanterelle Chair. I'm sorry there's no actual prize for this. There were 3, you know, prizes. £20, £10, nothing, £5. but it's an accolade, and I must say it was a real wow piece.
The chair was designed for the Meta Garden at Chelsea Flower Show to sit amongst a whole range of pieces that we designed to sit in the garden, and the garden looked at the relationship between fungi and trees, which is, you know, it's incredible. It's a couple of really good...
Just a very brief word about it.
This is my second piece that I made at Robinson Art Studio. It's a year-long course. So yeah, it's my first major actual piece of furniture that I've made. And yeah, it's using inspiration from basically a traditional Japanese craft called Kumiko.
That's kind of what I was going for.
Because it is quite a bold statement, but that's a really nice subtle touch, which we were very impressed with, so congratulations.
Hi, I'm Philip Gay. This is my piece, Less is More, Collector's Chest. I started off with the concept of trying to stay away from a big box structure for this, so I wanted to kind of have a lot more negative space.
Thank you. So, I'm really pleased to be here and I'm delighted to be asked to sponsor and to be here to present this award. It's great to see pieces made from basically something we all love, and I think it's really refreshing to see so many different pieces. At the end of the day, it all starts with the trees. As a company, that's what we believe in, and it works its way through. So I'm delighted to award a voucher for £500 from English Woodland Timber to Matthew Tyson for the Cirrus desk.
What? I mean, it's a masterpiece. What are you most pleased about it?
I'm really... I think the overall feel of the desk sort of works really well. It's sort of... Visually, it's quite light on its feet. It sits quite sort of modestly in the corner, but I think it's got a sort of an elegance about it, I think. And I think the way it's constructed, I think it will stand up to the test of time, and hopefully those drawers will still be running smoothly after 100 years.
The assistant manager is going to award the first prize, and if I may just add, it was a very, very close call.
Okay, welcome to Axminster Tools. We are a proud sponsor of the Alan Peters Award, and we hope you've all enjoyed, well, not so much the journey to get here, but the actual place itself. We've been in tools a long time, since 1972, and we always look to sponsor premier events, especially woodworking ones. So welcome everybody, and please have a look at the exhibits after we've done the presentation. Right, so it's the first prize, and it goes to Jeff Maker for his Lunar Chair.
Well, it looks a fascinating chair, Jeff, and bigger actually than I realised, but tell me a little bit about it.
So it's obviously inspired by the moon and the sort of our relationship to the moon through history. And the making process involved sort of a combination of machine processes and but also a lot of hand tool work. So these bird's mouth joints, where the underframe meets the legs at the front and the back, were all done with a spindle moulder. The main legs and spindles were all cut with a copy lathe, and this detail was done with a router. But then the arms were largely hand-shaped, as well as the seat and the back, just done with hand tools. And particularly for these quite tactile shapes, having that ability to sort of shape them by hand and feel them as I'm making them was really important.
Andy, any particular machine you'd like to take home?
Well, something I need, and I've needed for years, is one of those sort of disc sanders.
Disc sander, okay. How big? Small, big?
Medium.
Medium, okay.
I'll take the combination machine over there.
Combination machine.
Would be great for a sort of home garage
Oh, unusual,
setup.
the revival of the combination machine. That's my era, yeah. Very space saving. Okay.
That's what I need. I second
Judge?
the combination machine. That's the same for
You
me.
like that?
Yeah.
You're going to have to fight over it
Yeah,
then.
okay.
Yeah, nice.
Right, gentlemen, I want an answer, please. What machine you particularly fancy, or tools?
I'd have the big drum sander, thank you very much.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, do a lot of serious damage with that.
If it was a machine, I'd probably have the same thing actually. To
Would
be
you?
honest, yeah.
There's a lot of
But
fighting for the same things here.
I was actually thinking I'd probably go for one of the nice hand planes.
Oh right.
Yeah, I'd like one of the shooting board planes.
Yep.
Not something I'd use very much.
Trying
but
plane
like,
or?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah. Okay, right, very quick.
Just after a little lathe, I think. I just want to start turning stuff.
Lovely. Do you know you can teach yourself lathe work in a weekend and then join a world symposium on a Monday, which with furniture making you've got to put in at least 5 years. No, it's one of the skills that are easiest to acquire, aren't
As soon as I get a lathe, that's job
they? That's
done.
it, job done, yeah. Okay, what about you, Tom?
I want a table saw.
Table saw?
Yeah.
A big one?
The biggest and the best one, yeah.
Yep. You got the space?
Oh, well, I guess first thing is get the space.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought
Okay.
we were talking...
And as you're
tables
all asking me what I'd take home, I'd actually quite fancy that, wall panel saw.
Wall saw.
Yeah, because I love using sheet material for